Hello, YouTube. Alright, you may be wondering what these cabinets are all about and what's currently going on because I've made a mess again. Alright, I went to Goodwill and I saw these little cabinets. You know, it's not really a cabinet, kind of a cabinet. It's a little bit heavy, but I thought it was perfect size for building out the van and decided to buy them. Two of them here. One's just a shelf. And thought that I could put it in and mount it. And I could, but you know, I mean, this could go... This one here could go where the blue thing is. And I did take that all off and I laid it in. But then the problem is the back side's all empty. And I'd have to build it out. I thought of putting them together, you know, to make one unit, which might work. But then you got the shelf that doesn't fit. And I was like, well, I could cut that all up and then, you know, try to make it go down. It became a lot of work. I even tried shifting it and doing a weird layout where you had this piece here and then you had this other piece on the end like this, which looks like it would work and be really nice. The problem is it extended out too far. So, you know, like over the ledge here. So then it came out like this. Then you'd have to cut this part off and try to put it all back together, and I gave up. I was like, this is becoming too much. So I think we're gonna go for now with the original design, which is the cheap plastic drawer unit there, because it has a latch on the handle, you know, right here to kind of hold it in place. So it's kind of good already for a van so things don't fly out. What I found that was kind of sad was this little ledge right here. It's not enough room for another full-size unit and it's short. So I had wanted to put like a smaller unit, stackable, that would fit right there, that would come up two of them, but they don't sell them anywhere. They don't, you know, originally I bought them from Walmart on Little Blue 1 and 2, but they don't have them anymore. They don't make like these half-sized ones. They only have these full-size rectangular ones and the larger ones. They don't have any of the thin, narrow kind like these. They don't make these anymore. You can't find them anywhere. Because these would have been perfect to come over here and fill it out. So then I thought of using these, you know, but then it would look kind of junky. But I might still do it. I might still have to build like a custom little edge here and then put these here. But see, then it's not even, it could sort of work like that, but, you know, I don't know. So I bought a bunch of that. So I'm spending money buying junk that doesn't fit. But you'll notice something here interesting. I have upgraded the hinges because I've changed the design of the platform bed on how it's going to work. I mean, it'll flip back like this, you know, and then go down. And the seats come up, so the van will still continue to function like a regular van. But I decided, hey, you know what? I could put like hinges on here and unscrew all these screws that were holding all the baseboard here down, and then we can lift this up and have access to our storage. And when I did that, I found out that this centerpiece here, that wood right there, was off-centered, which it still is. It's still kind of off-centered, but at least it's got a ledge now to hold it. But then this side kept hitting right here. You can see all the scratches from it hitting. So I had to do some trimming, and I cut it, but even now it's still hitting. It's because vans, you know, the molding and stuff aren't like exactly perpendicular. Like they curve out, so they get fat, just like that part did. So it kept hitting, and it still does hit, and then it kept getting caught on this belt. So I ended up having to cut this, so it's kind of ugly looking right now. But I'm like, no one's going to see it. A mattress is going to be on it. But this is so that you can sort of lift this up And I'd have to cut it more if I wanted to lift it up more, but I think this is about as high as I'm going to take it. And you can access the storage under here. You just can't lift it up. And you see how I made it so it doesn't hit, you know, it allows the belt buckle to go. So you got to do some weird cuts. That's why I said you got to build on the fly, because all these little pieces stick out. And I didn't have to do this side, but I did trim it to try to make it match, so it looks somewhat like it's supposed to be matched. But this one goes all the way up to the top. And you might be wondering what these little blocks are. They're so that you know how far to push. See this whole unit now to disassemble? You just slide the whole thing out. You know, you fold that up. You fold this part up. Well, I gotta put it back because it's gonna hit. See, when you slide it in, it hits here and stops it from going further. So this is how far it's supposed to go back. But you can see this part right here now. It's all ugly cuts, but it also had been cut out because of that little ledge right there sticking out. The idea is that when you fold it down, see how it wants to hit, but see now it doesn't hit. Well, it does, but not enough to block it, because I curved it. And then I curved the other side to kind of match it. So that's where we're at right now. It looks like you know, we're gonna make it so that the whole thing, you know, this top piece is actually not screwed in anywhere, and it can be just slid out. And then you can slide out undo those screws there and undo the platform. Now, that should make it a little bit lighter, not much lighter, but maybe a little bit easier to disassemble and reassemble. You know, the original plan was to make it so you could completely disassemble all this camper van setup stuff and make it back into a regular vehicle in a few minutes. I think we're not there yet, but at least now it probably won't take more than 10-15 minutes, because all you have to do is fold that seat up, come over here and pull this off. And hopefully it all, you know, will come off. And then you got this board, which is kind of heavy. It's 3 boards, but you don't have to deal with the base. Before, you had the base and that side. It was really heavy for one person to do, but this, one person could take this whole thing off and also put it back. And when you slide it, you just slide it until it hits on the stoppers. And that's how you know how far to go. And then just bring this back. So that way, you know, when you lift it up, you can have access to your storage. Now we're caught on something. Oh, we're caught on this. Went a little too far. All right. So there's a little bit of a gap here, probably because my hinges aren't perfectly squared. But yeah. It's still a work in progress. And, you know, doing it like this, you have access to all of this storage under here. There'll be a mattress here, so it'll be a little bit heavier. I'm probably going to have to make a little stick or something that you can wedge up here to hold this up, so you can lean over and access your storage under there. I had thought of making, you know, all sorts of compartments and other stuff, but I think it might be better to just leave it flat and open. And hopefully we can fit in, you know, those plastic bins. You know what I'm talking about? The tote, the Sterilite or whatever they are, Rubbermaid, you know, that people store all their stuff in, like those, like the blue one over here. All these things. Hopefully, now that one's probably gonna be too tall, but hopefully we can find smaller ones that will fit under there, and that way stuff can be stored under there, and if you need to get to it, you can lift it up and access it. Now, because nothing's really held down, I don't know how well it's going to do until, you know, we get it all done and take it out for a test run, camping in it and seeing how hard it is to actually use. I'm a little bit disappointed that I couldn't put these in there. I thought of putting it on the window there, but then it's lopsided, and then I don't know if and then it blocks the window, which I was trying to make it so that the van, when it's in normal mode, you can look out and it's safer. You know, you can see from the driver's side, you can see diagonal and see any car in your blind spot. So that's where we're at as of right now. I think, that I'm going to go with this design with the ability to lift up and access storage instead of having to. Originally, I was going to make like slide outs, but then it becomes really complicated. I might still make a slide out for cooking, but I don't know. I'm trying to keep this build really simple and versatile and easy to assemble and disassemble, because there may be times when I need to use this entire back area here to transport, something big, like a bed mattress or something, or a washer dryer. Minivans can be pretty versatile, but once you turn into the camper, you got all these parts. But if you can take all the parts back out in a few minutes, you got a regular van again, and you can use it like a regular van. So the plan is to make this van, functional as a regular van and a camper, and reach a good compromise on comfort as well as usability and flexibility. So, and also not making it too expensive a build. We're doing this on a budget. So far I think we're a little bit under $200 into it as far as all these parts. I did move the battery from the Vibe under here. It's under here, but not hooked up or anything. It's under the floor. And, that once I hook that portion all up, I'm still trying to decide where I'm going to put the inverter and basically the power systems, because this is supposed to be at least as usable as Little Blue was, but hopefully better. Easier to access, and in some ways maybe a little bit safer. I do have a question for those of you who have batteries in your vehicle. I know a lot of people are probably buying the lithium ion packs, and I don't think those off gas. But I'm still using lead acid, the RV batteries, and that will off gas. Now, what I did when Little Blue was I just ignored it. I always had the windows open. So when the system was charging while I was driving, the gases get released and produced. It makes, if you ever smell kind of like a sulfury smell in your car, you need to open your windows. That's your battery overcharging or charging, in the process that releases gases. So I had my windows open in Little Blue. The back windows were always open. I don't know if I'm going to keep the windows open all the time in here. I may. And then just let the gas, off gas from the floor and come up and then blow out the windows, just like Little Blue did. Or the option I was thinking of was drilling holes. Under the floor there's a little dimple where the battery is. So there's room there for the battery and the battery box. So what do you guys think of me drilling holes in that little compartment and letting it air kind of blow through when you're driving? That, so the wind will come through the van and blow, and hopefully blow it out and not into the van. But it could still blow up into the van because of all these openings here, unless you have it completely sealed and, so that no fumes can come up. So I don't know if it's worth doing that, because I might be risking letting bugs and insects and moisture and other stuff come in from the floor and, rusting out the bottom of my van. So let me know your thoughts on that. I will keep you posted on the development, but it looks like this is going to be the bed system. And sadly, I don't think I'll be using those unless I decide to try one more time. But I've tried different layouts, and I could have laid it side by side and covered this up, but I didn't want to lose access to this tall area because it can store, luggage and potentially a table. Foldable table and chairs. And also this area here could be a coat hanger up here to hang, several jackets and stuff for if we go to somewhere where it's cool or cold. And, you could conceivably have everything in luggage and just stick it under here, I think there's enough room for luggage under here. Or if you needed to, you could have bins and put stuff into bins and access it. Access your storage. So let me know your thoughts. Until next time, everyone, take care. God bless you all. Stay safe. And remember, when you're building vehicles, if you're not taking off all the walls and stuff, and even if you do, there's metal beams and all sorts of curvatures and stuff. Things aren't aren't like 90 degrees flush or whatever. They're always little parts that jut out and stuff. So that's why I recommend building on the actual vehicle instead of, I mean, you have a rough design, but don't pre-build it and expect to stick it in and have it work. I've done that on my first van build, and stuff did not fit. You know, I measured and it was good, but then when you go to lay it in, there's a part that juts out that blocks it from going in, and you end up having to cut up everything that you did. So don't do that. You know, have the design in your head or on paper and actually build it in the vehicle, and that way you hit the jetting parts and you can, you know, adapt it at that point instead of doing it and then tearing it apart and redoing it, just like I had to do with this. But this, you know, was just because there was a fundamental design change in the bed. Instead of having drawers that came out, which I thought would be a bit expensive and also cumbersome, you know, to build and use. I think it's just easier to get 2 hinges. That was $6. $6 for those 2 packs of hinges. And I have a storage system with the wood. And other than having to cut all these weird parts, curvatures and whatnot, you know, I'm thinking it's going to be okay. All right, time for me to sign out. Have a great day, everybody. Leave your comments and your thoughts down below. Thank you. Bye-bye now.